6 days, 12 hours a shift. And every single one of them ended with no lunch. But when I found out who was stealing my food, I didn't scream, I didn't report them. I made them lunch with a secret ingredient hot enough to send them to the hospital. If you've ever been pushed to your limit, disrespected, ignored, or stolen from, hit that like button. Subscribe and get ready for one of the spiciest revenge stories you'll hear all week. Literally. 3 years ago, I was working in a massive factory. It was the kind of place that never slept. People clocked in, clocked out, and were replaced almost instantly. 5 different temp agencies fed the workforce, so every day was a blur of unfamiliar faces and anonymous name tags. In a place like that, trust is a luxury. And one day, I noticed something strange. My lunch was gone. I chalked it up to a mistake. Maybe I misplaced it, maybe someone took it by accident. But then it happened again, and again, and again. 6 days in a row, 12-hour shifts with no food, just watching everyone else dig into their lunchboxes while I sat in silence. Stomach growling, patience shredded. The worst part, nobody cared. In a place like that, you're just another cog, invisible, replaceable. And yet someone, some sneaky, heartless parasite, thought it was funny to rob me of my one moment of comfort each day. At first, I imagined slamming open the fridge door and catching them red-handed. I fantasized about yelling, pointing, exposing them, but then I thought of something better. Hotter. The Carolina Reaper. One of the hottest peppers on earth. That night I got to work. I grilled steak to perfection. Sliced red and green peppers. Caramelized onions. I made a masterpiece, the kind of lunch you'd proudly post on Instagram. And then came the heat. I minced the Reaper peppers into a devilish pico de gallo. No warning, no mercy, just raw, mouth-numbing, sweat-inducing heat. I layered it over the steak fajitas, topped them with cilantro and lime for garnish, and sealed it all in a clear-lidded Tupperware container. It looked beautiful, innocent, deadly. The next morning, I placed the lunch in the fridge, right in the center, like bait in a trap. An hour later, screaming, I bolted to the break room. A woman was shouting for help, and there, on the floor, was a man gasping for air, red-faced, clutching his throat. The lunchbox bandit, the Carolina Reaper, had triggered a full-on asthma attack. He was rushed to the hospital. And me. I said nothing. He never admitted to anything either, but we both knew. And more importantly, he never touched another lunch again. That moment, seeing him struggle, hearing the panic in his voice, was a mix of horror and vindication. I didn't want to hurt anyone, but I wanted him to know what it felt like to have something taken, to be left gasping and empty. He got what he deserved, and suddenly, I wasn't invisible anymore. Sometimes justice doesn't come from HR. Sometimes it comes from a steak fajita and a pepper hot enough to scorch your soul. Don't steal people's lunches. You never know what's inside. If this spicy revenge gave you chills, smash that like button and tell us in the comments. What's the pettiest or most satisfying payback you've ever witnessed? And don't forget to subscribe, because we've got plenty more stories that prove karma always remembers.